Don't worry, I'll keep checking. Okay, 1, 2, check. 1,
Check,
2.
give me a check.
2, 2, 2.
Oh, wait, the
3.
music's already on.
No!
Uh-oh. Money Creeper!
I think I missed this. I missed it completely.
You missed it? You just don't even jump in. You just come in on that.
I just completely fell that one.
That's all right, man. That's all right. You can't get them all.
When we record the first time perfectly, and then we didn't realize we weren't recording.
It took the magic out of it, right?
Can't capture that lightning in a bottle twice,
You
man.
really can't. You really can't. I'm sorry, guys. You missed the rehearsal. But you are here for what's happening now, and that's what's most important, right?
I do believe so. I believe so. That's what they pay for here. But yeah, guys, we are sorry. We totally did a whole intro with some fire energy, and then we were just like, there is, that's not actually recording.
Forgot to turn the camera on so you guys could join us on YouTube. If you guys don't know, if you're still listening to the podcast, wherever, and if you want to listen, that's fine. But if you'd like to join us on YouTube, my lovely wife, Kristen, inserts all types of pictures and charts and crime scene photos or whatever else that she can find to help you along the story, right? All the shit that you want to Google anyways, I always say.
Oh, yeah. It also it definitely helps. Definitely doesn't help hide any of the cuts we ever need to make.
No, absolutely not. Those pictures are not strategically placed. They're just for your viewing pleasure. But yeah, guys, please watch and subscribe on YouTube. Also, you can follow us on TikTok, guys.
Absolutely.
Did you know that?
I've been there. I've been following those TikToks.
Are you following us on TikTok now?
I don't actually post on the TikToks. But
No,
I'll occasionally creep on the TikToks.
You guys, the Creeper Army, if you guys don't know, my daughter Melody, who is 16, she runs the TikTok for us, and I think she does a fantastic job. Basically what she does on the days the episode comes out, she listens through, well, most of it, right? She's probably skipping through quite a bit of it. She's heard enough of her dad. But she's finding different clips and stuff that she likes. She's posted them on TikTok. And sometimes she'll do little funny edits in there. She'll put like little Eric Cartman from South Park. And then she's made a little character for herself. If nothing else, go check out the pinned video on TikTok. And it'll explain it all.
Yeah, that is _ True Crime Guys _
But you can search True Crime Guys and our profile comes up first.
Yeah.
So
we'll find you. We'll find you original True Crime Guys.
That's right. Whoever took that damn thing.
We're coming for you.
But also, guys, I want to remind you guys of the new custom sticker design that Melody did as well. She's becoming a real MVP here at TCG Productions. But this sticker design also on my cup here, product placement, Andy.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, normally I have my nice little special laptop that is all the stickers to brand for us, but
we don't need your laptop.
No, I'm just here for commentary.
That's right. Thanks, Andy. But yes, guys, you can get your own sticker right here. The link below the description of this episode, or you can go to truecrimeguys.com and scroll down the main homepage there. You'll see a picture of it with a link to buy. Also, speaking of you guys here on Patreon, we did it again, Andy. You know what we did?
What's that?
We did 2 cases in a row by the same person.
Bam! That's how you know you were a good. That's how you know you're a good listener. That's how you know you're a.
That's how you know you're a consistent participator, at least.
You're a very valued listener. And we're like, damn, that's a good one. Damn.
Yeah.
Put it on the list.
So Kendra on Patreon, you get your second thank you. Thank you very much. Second case in a row. I think Chelsea was the first one to do that, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Yeah.
Chelsea. Yeah, we did 2 of her suggestions back to back. I think they were Aussie cases, weren't they, mate?
I do believe you might be right.
I think they were Aussie cases. But either way, we said we would never do it again, and we lied. So we're doing it again. So this week, if you didn't read the title for some reason, we are covering the kidnapping of ADOLPH COORS III.
Why don't you crack it open a cold one?
That's right. From the Coors Brewing Company. Andy, are you familiar with beer?
I am familiar with beer. I am familiar with Coors and the cold Rocky Mountain Light.
That's right. Only cold spring water, never pasteurized, right?
When the mountains turn blue, you know it's good to go.
It doesn't rime, but it's true.
Exactly. And you know what?
Wait, does it rhyme now?
I don't think so, but we know you're too drunk to know that the beer is cold, so it color-coded it for you.
Some people's like, blue enough.
It's like purplish, but whatever.
Right. All right, so our main focus of this episode was supposed to be the kidnapping and obvious murder of ADOLPH COORS III, okay? But I got a little carried away with the COORS family. I started looking into their history, and so we're going to talk about a little bit more than just the kidnapping, but we are going to cover the kidnapping mainly.
What? A multi-billion-dollar family dynasty company might have some weird history behind it?
They might, Andy. They had a few secrets.
There's some skeletons in the closet. Let's open these doors, Michael.
Let's, indeed. But let's start back at the event itself, right? The whole reason we're talking about this today. It was February 9th, 1960, when a milkman stopped and laid on his horn in the middle of a bridge over Turkey Creek near Morrison, Colorado. Some asshole was blocking the road with his station wagon. But after several honks, the milkman decided to get out and check on the driver. But wait, there was no driver.
Ghost car.
No, possibly.
Yes.
The station wagon was empty, with the engine running, and the radio was playing "Who Are You" by The Who.
That's a good product placement right there,
right.
too.
No, it wasn't.
Really sets the scene.
But how cool would that be, though? But the radio was playing, which that's a creepy scene in itself, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen this meme going around a few times, and it's just like a really short, like 2 pictures put together, and it's like, I wonder what your radio does in a car crash. You know, what if your radio doesn't die in the car crash or whatever?
Yeah.
You're just upside down, like hanging out, dead, while this stupid music's playing on some local pop station or something. If
your radio doesn't die or your radio doesn't cut off when your car crashes or whatever, it's like, what's the paramedics going to come up to?
Right.
Yeah.
Like Daft Punk's playing or something. You're just hanging in there.
Do you ever feel like a plastic bag?
Oh, God. Yeah, right. Some Katy Perry. But no, I don't know what was playing, but the radio was playing. Okay. So after the milkman starts looking around and calling out for any signs of life at all, he decides, shit, I'm just going to push this thing out of the way and keep going on about my day, right? I got milk to deliver, goddammit.
I got milk to deliver and lonely housewives to pay visits.
That's right. I got illegitimate children to make.
All over this suburb.
But as he does push the car out of the way, he notices a reddish-brown stain on the bridge, as well as a hat sitting mysteriously on the riverbank below. And you think, oh, why would he notice a hat? That's not that big a deal. Hats blow off out of cars all the time, right? Mm-hmm. But think about the hats they wore in the 60s, man. This thing was probably like a dope-ass fedora.
Oh, you know? I could have brought one of those in, too. Wore it. Put my little Indiana Jones hat.
That's exactly what it was. I mean, imagine if you dropped your Stetson off the bridge, man. You're going down there to get that shit.
I'm jumping out the car. I don't care. It's still moving.
Exactly. That's probably what happened. You know what? Come to think of it, that's probably... Case closed, guys. No. But obviously the milkman, he had a bad feeling about this, as you should. And it just didn't smell right, you know what I'm saying? So he reported it to the police, who quickly figured out the owner of the car was none other than heir to what would eventually become the 4th largest brewing company in the U.S., ADOLPH COORS III.
Das third Schei, or whatever it is. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, yeah.
Yeah, right. Let's roll the frickin' intro. Let's get into it.
They are what they say they are. They're pretty simple, homespun folks who live up in the mountains and work hard on making their product. Coors was a $350 million corporation with no lawyers, no marketing department, no advertising department, and no accountants. The old man would do the financial planning for the next year on the back of an envelope.
Together we stand and divided we fall. And we believe that strong family union is the key to success in business as well as success in life.
I won't buy it, I won't drink it, I won't touch it. There are plenty of good beers around to drink without drinking Coors.
And I said to the black people there, I said, you know what, your ancestors, I mean, came over here in chains, they ought to be grateful for it. You see, well, that really hit the fan. They're going to get lynched for that one.
It's fun to paint them as these wild-eyed fascists, when in reality they're a lot more moderate than we think.
We're all quite patriotic, and we love our myths. flag and all that goes with it. Apple pie and motherhood, I guess.
All right, so let's start at the beginning of the Coors patriarchy.
Let's crack it open.
Okay, because it is one hell of a patriarchy.
Oh, absolutely.
As you might imagine, a very strict, conservative German family might operate. I mean,
when your current CEO is ADOLPH COORS III. I don't know. ADOLPH.
And before you ask, I know for sure of ADOLPH COORS IV. So I don't know how far that name has continued to go.
I mean, they kept it going at this point.
I saw ADOLPH COORS IV interviewed in a documentary about this family. So,
yeah, exactly.
He exists, okay?
There may be
So we're
more.
going to start way at the beginning with the original ADOLPH COORS, the OG, okay? Mm-hmm. No suffix to the name. Just ADOLPH COORS.
And it's Adolf with a PH, guys. It's PH.
Yeah, so it's not like the other guy.
Yeah, it's not like the other Adolf. Is there another one? I don't know. Yeah,
I can't even think of it right now. But it's not. It's so not associated with him that it's not even funny. But in 1868, and here's the old line from every self-made man: "With only 17 cents in my pocket and at 21 years old," which was middle age back then. I mean,
pretty
what
much.
the fuck took him so long, right?
Old-ass man.
Seriously. But Adolph COORS fled a turbulent Germany for the great land of opportunity, America. That's right.
Go. Living a dream, baby.
Uh-huh. And apparently upon arriving in New York, they immediately wanted to send his ass back. But he's quoted as saying, Give me
1 year back and I will get a job, I will make some money, and if you don't send me back.
And if I don't,
send me back.
Oh, there you go.
This is the OG.
Sorry,
Adolf.
I didn't understand. That's right. Your German accent legitimately took me by surprise. So...
They square.
So they were like, all right, whatever, sounds good. At least you're white, or whatever they said back then.
You said that very aggressively, so you just come on past. Actually.
Yeah, okay. But old Adolf wasted no time getting to work, taking about every job that he could find. And eventually he became connected with some real pioneers who got word of the plentiful resources out in Colorado. So he joined them and made the move in 1872. Now, New York to Colorado, Andy, in 1872, that does not sound comfortable, right? There's got to be a term for how your ass feels when you ride across the country on a horse or wagon. You know what I mean? Like, let's camp here for tonight. I got rigor mortis ass.
Rigor mortis.
I got rigor mortis ass.
I got rigor mortis, baby. I got rigor. Oh, it's all stiff.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is some German Oregon Trail going across here.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what a damn trip, though. Seriously, with horse and buggy.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure this old world German man was super just pleasant the whole time along the way. Yeah, super pleasant from New York to Colorado.
He was telling jokes, German ones, of course.
Knock, knock, who's that? We ask the questions. It's an old Robin Williams line.
Shut the fuck up, it's my wagon. But, so he eventually got to Colorado, and he settled down in a town called Golden. In just one freaking year, with his savings of $2,000 and an undisclosed investment amount from a partner, said to be over $2,000, he opened a brewery in 1873.
He turned that 17 cents into quite a bit on a long-ass trip from New York. How did you acquire this much money from New York to Colorado?
What's your excuse, Andy? What's your excuse?
I don't have the fire that this man did, apparently.
You've never had 17 cents in your pocket. You never had that kind of motivation.
Never turned it into $2,000 either. That's 17 cents to $2,000 in 1878 too. It's like that's a lot of money.
Seriously. So he opened a brewery. Okay, this is 1873. And of course, we all know the beautiful light beer he produced was made with cold spring water that ran from the Rockies. But a lesser known is the original name of the beer, which was, of course, Hitler Light. Andy, did you know that?
No, I did not know that. Hitler Light. Hitler Light. I think we've seen a couple of those guys now.
It's weird, right? Even 70 years before Hitler's rise to power.
Okay.
Yeah, but people didn't like it then either.
People were like, something doesn't taste right about this.
Like, something's not right about this name.
Something is just, it's not sitting well.
Yeah, it didn't sit right with people, so they changed it to Coors Goldenbach.
There we go.
Yeah, that sounded a little bit better. Obviously, guys, that was all bullshit, okay? It was called Coors Golden Bock. Somebody don't give me a bad review. They don't even know shit, man. They were talking about Hitler. It was just 70 years before his... You know. Yeah. But regardless of the fake setback that I just made up, the beer grew in popularity, and the business was thriving. So much so that in 1880, Adolph bought out his partner and became sole proprietor of Coors Brewing at age 33. I mean, it took him long enough. That's fucking retirement age.
At this point, yes. That is like, old man.
You're about to die, probably.
How are you still going 33? At this point?
God.
The amount of gray hairs
you know Jesus died at 33. That's a true story.
It's a true story. At this point, it is. You know, just a little beer nerd thing. He also actually bought the recipe for a Pilsner and then just called it a Golden Box. So, you know what? It's just a little beer nerd trivia in there.
Yeah. I feel better about knowing it now. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
I don't know the difference between the two. So that's a problem. It's all about taste. Of course. But around that same time, Adolph met Louisa Weber, who happened to be the daughter of a successful businessman. And they fell madly in love with each other.
Yes!
And were quickly married. Andy, can you believe it?
I love your daughter's... it's just something
financial
about her...
security.
It's something about her... it's her dowry. It's her dowry, okay? I like her dowry.
Yep. And Adolph had done it, okay? He came to America. He became a successful entrepreneur. He married the girl with the rich father of his dreams.
Exactly.
And he was happy, right? He was happy.
That is the American dream.
That's right.
Marry a rich girl out in Colorado.
Right. Well, at least he played the part for a while, okay? He and Louisa, they bought a home out in the mountains and raised their children on old-fashioned German values, you know? Man, that just sounds like a barrel of fun, doesn't it, Andy?
That sounds so much fun.
Yeah, like a Dwight Schrute childhood.
Very much so. Very much so. We do not have the laughter. We have the chantings.
No. Yeah, old Adolph, the OG Adolph was like... no fun. No, don't have fun in my presence. It is disrespectful. You know?
We're not meant to have fun. We're meant to work. We're meant to earn some money.
Yeah, one of his grandchildren was quoted as saying, like, he didn't even, like, bounce you on his lap or nothing like that. Like, all of that was considered just child's play, just ridiculous things.
Yeah, it's like
a waste of time.
He met all of his grandchildren the first time with, like, just a firm handshake.
Yeah. Very nice to meet you. Just start screaming because squeezing the... He's a baby, father.
It's a very weak handshake. You need to work on your grip. You'll never be taken seriously with a handshake like this.
Right.
Very, very rude.
Yeah, well, he didn't want to spoil them, man. He thought playing with children spoiled children.
I don't want these soft babies to be any more soft. Look at how soft they are. Look, pop, pop. It's so soft.
So soft, skull not even all the way together.
Oh, you were Russian there. Sorry. Skull all together.
It's like Gru from fucking Despicable Me over here. But on the whole, things were looking pretty good for the Coors family, okay? That was until Prohibition hit. As you can imagine, that might, a beer company might suffer from Prohibition. Yeah. But many historians believe that Adolph foresaw this little setback and pivoted accordingly, okay? Well, at least enough to stay afloat. I wouldn't say, enough to maintain their lifestyle even.
No,
they took a serious hit here.
Yeah, a lot of breweries and wineries and distilleries during the Prohibition times, they all either had to scramble to figure out something else to produce, or just go under.
Right, and since he was set up for beverage already, he did go into the malted milk business, but I don't think there's just a huge market for malted milk. I mean,
I don't think so.
How much malted milk you got at home, Andy?
I probably got a good... I don't have any.
I don't have any. Yeah, I don't have any either. I don't even know where it is in the grocery store. But yeah, malted milk, and also began producing his own line of porcelain products in 1912.
Nice vases and bowls and statues of certain small
authoritarian figures,
small mustached, come over, something like that.
Again, 30 years ahead of time. But yeah, still too early.
Oh, he's a visionary, man. He sees the future, apparently.
That's right. Well, whatever they made, it made them the U.S.'s top supplier of porcelain by the time of World War I. So how about that, Andy?
Made a lot of toilets, apparently.
Yeah, but I guess people still didn't need much porcelain during the war because they still struggled financially. Now, I don't really know what struggling is for the Coors family. You know what I mean? All families have a different idea of what struggling is. And I think the Coors family was like, we can't afford to upgrade our Bentley this year type of struggling.
Yes, we have to get to last year's model of Rolls Royce.
Like exactly.
But at the same time, this is Prohibition, which then leads into like you have the Great Depression, like you have the war, you have all this stuff that's about to take place.
Not to mention all the anti-German sentiment that come along with it.
Yeah, so it's he is in like a pretty tumultuous time in American history to have this massive company. But yeah, he is one of the biggest alcohol barons of the American West.
Oh, no doubt. And although I really don't think their financial security was really at stake here, but maybe their safety, like I said, as far as their place in their community, in their local community, they were not seen in great light. Mm-hmm. Being rich, being powerful, and then being German as well. With the anti-German sentiment, it was on an all-time high. I mean, bar the 1940s, of course.
There might be one
more high coming up, but before that. But Adolf and his family were starting to feel the sting. People would even yell insults at them just for crossing the street. They didn't even know who they were. They were just yelling at them because they were German, I guess.
Wow, if you can tell someone's German by the way they cross the street,
how
are you crossing the street?
Dude, very authoritatively.
Very steppy, I guess.
You're really stepping. But so you know what they say, when people hate who you are, just abandon your past and roots and buy into your new country's patriotism to the utmost degree. I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but I think people say that.
Yeah, I do think I've seen that cross-stitch somewhere.
Yes. But that's basically what Adolf did. He became involved in politics, conservative politics, of course. And during the nation's 13 long years of prohibition, he fought tirelessly to get it overturned. He really was missing that beer money, man. I mean, as you can imagine.
When that's all you've built your entire fortune on, you're like, listen, I'm not turning back now, motherfucker.
Yeah, I mean, and you're still set up to run. It's like everything's just on pause.
I've got all the infrastructure ready to go.
Right. And this malted milk is just stinking up the place.
It just fucking sits here.
Garbage. But it was also around this time that he started to share a little of the company responsibilities with his favorite son, you guessed it, Adolph Coors Jr.
The second.
No, he's junior.
Well, still.
Second would be like if you skip.
That's right. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like if the grandson was named after the grandfather, then he would be the second.
Okay, I never really thought about that. Okay.
Yeah.
Adolph Coors Jr.
Yeah, so he was an immediate heir of Adolph Coors. Now, throughout the 1920s, Adolph Jr. kept the ball rolling and really kept his father's traditions alive. Basically a carbon copy of his dad, really, in management style and home life. Here's an interesting part in one of the documentaries, which I linked below, where they talk about Junior's strict regime. He got haircuts on Sundays, no idle chit-chat at the table, and their mother kept a bad book, which held every bad thing the children did throughout the week. And when their father had time, he would go over the book and deal out the punishments as he saw fit.
That is the most, dark, stereotypical German, upbringing you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Just no chit-chat, no instructions. I keep records of all of your mistakes.
Yeah.
Father will be home to deal out the judgment when he gets here.
And this guy was an American.
I don't even nurse you. I give you malted milk from the start when we had to make malted milk.
Right. What else are we going to do without this malted milk? You will drink it.
We use the same bowl for your hair and your brother's hair and your hair and my hair.
Pretty much, dude. Pretty much. But it wasn't all bad, okay? I mean, I think the kids, some people would be like, boo freaking who, with your silver spoon in your mouth, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it wasn't all bad. They also suffered from exotic vacations and grew up on a literal estate in the Colorado mountains where they ran free, made cowboy movies, all kinds of shit. They had streams on their property, lakes, how many kids had shit to make movies with in the 20s, Andy?
Exactly. That's how big their property was, too, that they would actually rent out their property to movie studios. Be like, come shoot here. Yeah.
Dude.
Hang out.
The kids were making freaking movies.
Yeah, this is a massive,
they had so much money, their kids were running around with, at that time, probably state-of-the-art camcorders or whatever the hell they called them at the time. You know what I'm saying?
I'm guessing they probably weren't moving
too
much.
Reel to reel.
Yeah.
No, the videos are actually pretty good.
Really?
You check out the documentary. There's some clips of them. I mean, obviously, they're, the old-timey videos where they're kind of moving fast. You know what I mean? And they usually would play music over them.
Benny Hill music. Yeah.
It's like that, but it's really clear. You can tell. And then, the documentary talks about how they're like, here's a video of them playing what do they call them, bandits or something like that, where half of the boys were pretending that they were bandits kidnapping one of their sisters, and then the other half like had to save them or whatever, and they were like rolling around, hiding behind rocks. Yeah.
Cool. I'd seen that their property was just so massive. It was literally like you said, an estate, like a compound. Like it was just like, yeah, it is what you imagine the Coors family lives in. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, in a way, these kids kind of lived in a fairy tale, when Daddy wasn't there, which he was busy quite a bit. But they would get their first dose of reality in 1929. This is interesting, okay? When ADOLPH COORS, the OG patriarch, and his wife, Louisa, were on vacation in a high-rise hotel in Virginia Beach. He was battling a very bad flu at the time. But on June 5th, 1929, ADOLPH COORS was found dead at 82 years old. The paper read that he, quote, died of sudden heart disease this morning as he was dressing for the day, end quote. But why was he on the ground outside of the hotel? The theories range from heart attack or accident to suicide, and it's my opinion that the family seems to be leaning more towards the latter. But the official family story is Grandpa got confused and walked out a window.
But, okay.
But he was not confused. He wasn't suffering from any type of dementia at the time. He was under a lot of stress. I mean, that was according to him, but I think it was more the stress of like, what am I going to do with my life now? I'm retiring. What's the point? I think he felt worthless. One quote from his grandson, Bill COORS, stated that the stress of the failing ceramic and malted milk business, combined with, because this is still during Prohibition, combined with his wife and daughters driving him nuts, may have pushed him over the edge. That's what his grandson speculates. So you can take that for what it was.
So are we also agreeing that's like the paper says he died of sudden like heart disease, but the family says Grandpa got confused and fell out a window?
Yes.
So it's like, okay, well, how do you acknowledge this? It's like either he had a heart attack and fell out the window.
Yeah.
Or he just fell out the window.
The paper is alluding to the fact that, he had a heart condition. They're not saying where he fell or where he was standing. They don't want to talk about that.
Of course not. No.
That's not good for the hotel.
It's not good for the hotel or the Coors family.
Exactly. But whatever happened, it left ADOLPH Jr. in charge, starting in 1933. And shortly after, there was a kidnapping plot discovered, and Junior was the target. Dun, dun, dun. This is fishy too, man.
Exactly.
He even volunteered to let himself be kidnapped to help catch the criminals. It's like, how do you get word of this type of thing? It's, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know.
Unless you're talking about like a Pablo Escobar type cartel thing, or like some kind of like organized crime unit that you're monitoring. How do they have a
snitch on the inside of just some guys who were just going to do a kidnapping plot? Or maybe it was a bigger organization and they did have a snitch in there.
That's the only thing I could think of too. It's like at this time period, like what organizations were trying to do this? Was this like corporate espionage? Was this some kind of like vendetta? Idea. It's like, how do you guys know this pre-recorded chatter? It's like you're not listening to terrorist cells or something at this point.
I know. I don't get how they found out about it, but they did, and like I said, ADOLPH was totally on board, Jr., to be kidnapped, to help the police find these guys, but that actually wouldn't be necessary for a very strange turn of events, because on their way to kidnap Jr., this merry bunch of bandits got a flat tire, and were luckily helped by a police officer, Andy.
You know what? That's such a great story to hear. Just a good old officer of the peace. Yeah, officer of the peace, just serving his community.
Right.
And helping him with this flat tire.
Exactly.
And guess what? They were having bigger problems than that.
They were. Because this officer was fully aware that this kidnapping plot was supposed to go down this day, and they were looking for basically a car that matched this description, and, all of the kidnapping paraphernalia is what they called in the documentary. I guess they had ropes, handcuffs, weapons, things of the like in the car. It was, it was pretty damning evidence. So
it's like when they busted Ted Bundy with his kill kit or whatever, or his burglar kit. It's like, why do you have you have a checklist?
Right?
What the fuck, dude?
Jesus. Yeah. So they arrested these guys on the spot. Now, during the Depression, Junior did his best to quietly run the company while also grooming his sons for takeover. One in particular, and guess who it is?
I'm guessing maybe a third ADOLPH?
You are correct, sir. He's the star of today's show, ADOLPH the Third. Junior's 2 younger boys went to Ivy League schools and got degrees that would later help them in the business, but Adolph III was more of a hands-on kind of guy, apparently, like his father and his grandfather.
Very true, but I also, I feel like it's like, well, you're the first son, you stay here.
Yeah.
You're going to run this, you don't need school, you need this.
Right? It's like, but if you already have that kind of launching pad, you really don't need school. Those other guys were just trying to make a point.
Yeah, they were going to be other officers in the company. That was going to be people who were actually going to work in the company.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it wasn't long until tragedy struck the Coors family again. The whole reason we decided to cover the Coors family in the first place, the kidnapping and murder of Adolph III. All right, so now we're back to the beginning before the intro. The young heir to the Coors Brewing Company fortune had left his house, which was not far from the bridge, earlier that morning and had not been seen since. Searchers quickly spread out over the area looking for the missing 45-year-old father. He had 4 kids at the time. In addition to the hat that we mentioned at the beginning, that Stetson or whatever it was, and a pair of his glasses, a few other objects were found belonging to Coors below the bridge, but no other trace was found. He had seemingly disappeared. Okay, and remember the car was running up at the top too. It's like you had to think, did he walk down here maybe and stumble? Maybe he saw something.
Yeah, maybe
he
he
just
saw
got out of the car to go get some. It's like you don't think kidnapping right away.
No.
With no evidence of a struggle there.
Yeah, there's no evidence of the car wasn't even shut off. Like you said, it was like it literally looked like he had stopped the car and either ran away or fallen off the bridge or something. There was no other tire tracks. There was nothing. It was just ghost.
Yeah. Well, either way, because of these circumstances, there was no 48 hours bullshit, especially not someone rich and powerful.
Yeah, you're not when there's a Fortune 500 company's CEO missing.
Exactly.
Whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. And just 24 hours later, the FBI was involved even. FBI's Denver division became involved, and being only 1 day after the Coors disappearance, the federal kidnapping statute could be invoked, which would allow full access to FBI resources for anything even the local police needed. I think even the RCMP got involved in this as well. So anything they needed, the FBI was there for them.
Yeah, like J. Edgar Hoover himself was like, this is the number one thing I'm focused on right now. This and the panties I am wearing.
Yes. And their first clue came as quite a haunting happening, and it's when Coors' wife, Mary, received a typewritten note that same day demanding a ransom for the return of her husband. And I will let Andy read that note for you now.
Mrs. Coors, your husband has been kidnapped. His car is by Turkey Creek. Call the police or FBI. He dies. Corporate. He lives. Ransom, $200,000 in tens. $300,000 in 20s. There will be no negotiating. Bills, non-consecutive, unrecorded, unmarked. Warning, we will all know if you call the police or record the serial numbers. Directions, place money and this letter and envelope in one suitcase or bag. Have 2 men with car ready to make the delivery. When all is set, advertise a tractor for sale in the Denver Post. Section 69.
Nice.
So specific.
Nice.
Sign at King Ranch, Fort Lupton. Wait at NA 94455 for instruction. After ad reappears. Delivery immediately after receiving call. Any delay will be regarded as a stall to set up a stakeout. Understand this. Adolph's life is in your hands. We have no desire to commit murder. All we want is that money. If you will follow the instructions, he will be released and unharmed within 48 hours after the money is received.
Very good, sir. Very good. One take. Very nice. Very nice. So yes, see? Very scary letter. Especially written.
It's all very formal too. It's like typed out like a document. It's not like a normal ransom note that you would see.
No.
That's all kind of like jumbled. It's like properly tabbed and spaced and punctuated.
Like this person is educated or has like clerical experience or something.
It looks like it's like an actual like formal document. Like someone is like, I filled out the form. Like
yeah.
Like I filled out the ransom form here. Like now take it.
Right. Right. When do I get my copy?
Like when? Like okay. Like do
fingerprint
I need to,
free? Right.
Do I need to bring like the original, or do I have a photocopy? Like here, I filled out the form. It's just such a formal, it's just documented ransom note. It's so strange.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Mary naturally reached out to law enforcement about this, and they told her to cooperate. And so she did. She contacted the kidnapper, but never heard anything back. The FBI laboratory began analyzing the available evidence, especially the ransom note, which had a very distinct typeface and was written on paper with an uncommon watermark. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, local police pursued leads closer to the scene of the crime. They soon focused in on a canary yellow Mercury that had been seen in the area on several occasions and tried to track down its driver, who they found out to be a man who called himself Walter Osborne.
It just sounds like an alias.
That is a badass name, though.
It is. It sounds like but it sounds so. It's like that's too cool of a name.
Yeah, it's not your name.
It's not your name.
It's not your name.
It's too cool. It's not your name. Sorry. Well, like one thing me and Michael were talking about beforehand. We were talking about like that strange type case, how they figured it out. This was actually some pretty cool like CSI type work for back in the 60s to be able to like look at this ransom note, notice the way that the letters were typed on the page. There was like a millimeter difference on the S going down the line, and this like format.
Right.
It's like it was almost like every typewriter had its own little signature to be able to like, okay,
which they did, right?
Yeah, it's like this typewriter with this font, with this spacing, with this line, differential or whatever, could be traced back to this market and this like manufacturer.
Yep.
So they were able to track like by looking at the typewritten note, how like where this came from, what brand of typewriter was used, what model, like years, and where this was sold in this area. So they actually were able to do like a deep dive CSI in 1960. Like it's pretty intense.
Well, the fire was under their asses. Let's not be.
Yeah, let's not.
Let's not act like they just decided to really kick your asses into gear.
No, you had a fishnet-ridden J. Edgar Hoover up your ass right there, just really riding you.
Yes, exactly. So the search for this Walter Osborne character, right? So the FBI learned that Osborne had disappeared around the exact time of Coors' abduction. Coincidence? I think not. But before doing so, he purchased a gun. Doesn't look good. Handcuffs.
Okay.
Oh, and guess what, Andy? One more thing. A typewriter.
Shting!
Yikes.
Nice.
Yes. So he had pretty much the triple threat there. The Bureau also learned that Osborne had obtained an insurance policy at a previous job, and a man named Joseph Corbett was the beneficiary.
Who is this Joseph Corbett you speak of, Michael?
Well, Mr. Corbett is nobody special, but he had a son, Joseph Corbett Jr., who had been convicted of murder and had recently escaped from a California prison.
Okay, this is exactly who I want to leave my life insurance policies to. This convicted murderer.
Exactly. So naturally, Corbett Jr. is a chief suspect in the Coors case now. And so the FBI obtained a fugitive warrant for him and placed him on the 10 most wanted fugitive list. And throughout the summer of 1960, Corbett Jr.'s trail remained cold. Yeah, it was quite a while before they catch this guy.
Like Rocky Mountain cold.
That's right, just
cold
like the
as
spring
the
water. But the trail leading to ADOLPH COORS III ended on September 11th, 1960, when some hikers came across a pair of trousers in the woods, and some say a garbage dump. I've heard both. But either way, it was just south of Denver. Like, I swear to God, every resource you check into about the way his remains were found is different. Yeah. Right? It's like, in some of the discrepancies, I'm like, these are big discrepancies. Like, 2 hikers found him in the woods. Okay. And then you hear on some things that, like, 2 hikers found, or 2 people found clothes in the trash. And then that led them to believe that, he might be in this area or whatever. There's so many discrepancies about the way his body was found.
It ties back to that CIA or that CSI type stuff that I was talking about, where they really were able to do some deep investigating at this point, to where it was in the woods, because they were able to track coming up when they find the car. The soil from the wooded area where his body was found was still on the bottom of the car.
There you go.
So it's like they were able to actually match it. So yeah, it's in a wooded area, like out in the woods, like 45 minutes from the original kidnapping scene.
Yeah.
So he got him and drove 45 minutes away.
Yes.
Out into the woods. So.
Okay. But the pair of trousers that they found, the pants had a key ring bearing the initials AC3. So that sounds like if he was like a quarterback, that would be like his nickname.
He's a wide receiver.
Yeah, he's like AC3. Oh, bro, did you hear AC3 got traded? But the trousers, the other items of clothing, and of course, the skeletal remains were determined to belong to Adolph Coors III. Mm-hmm. A jacket and a shirt had bullet holes that showed that he'd been shot in the back. And later, analysis of a shoulder bone would actually confirm this.
Yeah, 2 bullet holes in the back, like through in the back right. So it was like it went through his lungs, apparently.
Yeah. Yeah, I imagine probably the 2 men got into a scuffle that day on the bridge, and then maybe Adolph was like, oh shit, he's got a gun, and turned to get back in his car.
Yeah, thought he could
shot him.
My car's still running. I can just jump in and go.
Exactly.
Because this guy's car is pretending to be broken down. I can just floor it.
You can just back up too, or something. Yeah, I don't know. But the story of Coors' disappearance remained prominent in the public eye and was featured in all sorts of media, including Reader's Digest. Meanwhile, Corbett Jr.'s wanted photo was being shared all over America, but it was Canada who would break the case, to be fair.
Oh, Canada.
That's right. One Canadian Reader's Digest reader showed the RCMP and their FBI allies to an apartment rented by a man who resembled Corbett Jr. But unfortunately, the man had recently moved on.
Damn it.
They were hot on his trail, though.
I do love the pictures they were showing of Corbett at this time. Like I laughed at Michael. I was like, I think that's DB Cooper. Actually,
that's definitely DB Cooper.
I think they just found DB Cooper's sketch and were like, that one.
We'll take it. But the FBI lucked out again, even though they got to the hotel late. The next day, when the manager of a rooming house in Winnipeg called local police to report that a man who looked like the fugitive had recently stayed at their flop house.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Seems like there's a little kind of almost like the Richard Ramirez, where all the townspeople are like, I see him. I see him.
Oh, there he is. Yep. And they're tracking
all these Canadian people are just like, there he is. Hey, I see him. There he is. Did you see him?
Hey, over here.
Oh, I think I saw him. Hey, I'll give you a call.
That's right. Well, not only did they see him at this flop house, I guess it's a Canadian term, but they also noted that he was driving a fire engine red Pontiac. So pretty noticeable. Probably had a golden bird on the hood.
Yeah, get that fire
damn
bird.
Trans Am.
God, his hair blow in the wind.
Yeah. But that new information went out across Canada, and on October 29, 1960, a Vancouver police officer reported a similar vehicle parked outside a local motor inn.
Check out that badass Firebird right
there.
He was fucking... Oh, wait.
Wait, are we looking for one of those? Pull that guy.
Oh, shit. Sorry, we were...
But soon, police, with the assistance of the FBI's Toronto office, were knocking on the door of the hotel room. The man who answered said, quote, "I give up. I'm the man you want." So Corbett,
apparently they opened the door and they said his name. He was just like,
yep, that's me.
Like, damn it. Like, really thought this was going to go further, but yeah, all right.
That's me.
Like, damn it.
That's right. I mean, he escaped from prison. How long did he really think he was going to be out, though,
I mean, it seemed like he had a contingency plan for his prison time.
You escaped from prison and then you immediately killed somebody.
You immediately thought that the golden plan is I'm going to kidnap the CEO of Coors.
Yeah, bad idea, man.
Yeah.
Maybe he had a bunch of money waiting on him somewhere,
He thought he did.
He thought he did.
Thought he was definitely going to have a lot of money waiting for him.
Yeah. But either way, his ass was dragged back to Colorado, where he was tried by the state for Coors' murder. Because Coors' remains were found within the state, he wasn't tried on federal kidnapping charges.
Okay.
Now, during the trial, the FBI offered 23 agents, 5 lamb examiners, and a fingerprint expert to help put forward an ironclad case. And of course, there was the ransom note, believed to have been typed on Corbett Jr.'s typewriter, and damning evidence taken from his canary yellow Mercury, which was seen at the scene, or witnessed at the scene, which was recovered by law enforcement in New Jersey shortly after Coors' disappearance.
So yeah, that's another thing you have to remember. It's like the car he used also disappears like alongside of him. And
he tried to destroy this canary yellow car.
Yeah, and then that car is found in New Jersey on fire. Like, so it's like, it is that's why they're like, we have got to get the FBI involved. Like, that car we saw is now in a Jersey dump somewhere. Yeah. This guy has clearly been transported across the state, so.
Yep. So, he had connections, dude. He absolutely did. But on March 19th, 1961, Joseph Corbett was convicted and sentenced to a life in prison. Now, What did this awful event do to the Coors family? Well, for one, they upped their security tenfold. I can tell you that. And they slipped even more into their own reclusive properties and became more careful of who they hired in the future as well. Maybe too careful. We're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Also, another staple of the Coors culture was a eulogy that was written by Adolph Jr. about his son, the third, and was to be read before every single board meeting. And Adolph III's chair, Ad is what they called him, Ad's chair was always to remain open.
Yeah, after you're named Adolph in 1946, I'm going to go by Ad.
Let's just go by Ad.
Let's just go by Ad. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going to add to things here. But could you imagine being like a new guy at the company and accidentally sitting in Ad's chair?
Yes.
And then his dad walks in. Fired.
Just like Dr. Evil, he has one of those buttons. It's just a chair kicks back. The chair just kicks back into a fire pit. It's like, that was Ad's chair.
I'm badly hurt, but I'm still alive.
Who forgot to tell the new man about the empty chair?
Exactly.
His blood is on your hands.
Exactly. But anyway, let's talk about this hiring process, okay? Coors actually began giving polygraph tests, dude, as a mandatory part of the hiring process. All the while, they were asking you questions about your religious and political affiliations, okay? And sometimes even your sexual preferences.
Okay, this does sound like you're actually applying for a cartel.
Yeah. with a polygraph going on.
That's what I'm saying. They're strapped up. They've got a finger across your head like, yes.
Yeah.
Shit.
It's like, answer as you will, but they're going to take their own assumptions from every single answer that you give, you know? I mean, forgive the expression, but that's pretty Nazi of them.
That's just pretty third. That's pretty Third Reichy.
That's pretty crazy, man. The basic takeaway is that they wanted nothing to do with the limelight at the time. They just wanted to live in obscurity, man. They thought obscurity meant security.
Yeah, just we built it, and now we are done. We just get to reap the benefits now and live our lives, which is like, that is the American dream, to like start your $1 billion corporation and just be like, yep, done, family's taken care of forever.
Well, yeah, until you get one family member who just can't take it anymore. He just has to tell the world how he feels, Andy, because he's so important.
God damn it, there's
always
one. What?
And this family's one is Joe Coors, okay? Because the family stayed hidden away from the limelight where they wanted to be until the 60s, where Joe Coors' political affiliations would pull the family back into the spotlight. Joe was just as conservative as his forefathers, but way, way, way more vocal about it. He was a radical right-winger, to say the least, supporting the Vietnam War and fighting against hippies everywhere. Okay,
you're fighting against hippies.
Against hippies, man.
You're on the right side of history.
All right. But regardless of his controversial reputation, as well as the company's, Joe and his brother Bill ran Coors together, taking over after their father's death in 1970, and continued to have success.
I did find it funny that both Joe and Bill, it's Adolph, the son, Adolph III.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be taking over the CEO of the company. Right. He is allergic to beer. And then Joe.
That's right.
And then Joe and Bill, I think it's Joe, he just doesn't like beer. They're just like, yeah, I don't it's kind of yucky. I don't like it. It's just like, could you imagine being that disappointed father, just be like, all right, my son, you will have your first drink. Why's your face turning red? What do you mean you can't breathe? Like, you're just looking down and like, this one is broken. I was putting this beer in his baby bottle and look at him.
Yeah, it was strict, man. I wonder when they did drink, though, you know? I mean, they're kind of a no-nonsense lifestyle. It was probably just kind of like a, traditional with dinner or whatever.
Yeah, but apparently Adolph Sr. did not really have like faith in his other two sons. Like, he did not really have faith in, like, he was like, nope, this one's not really ready to run the company. This one doesn't even like the product. And this one, that's just Bill. I don't know.
Fucking Bill. He'll fuck it up somehow. But they were doing all right. They were doing all right until 1977, all right? That's when the Coors workers went on strike. They had enough of the ridiculous working conditions, including the polygraphs, and not to mention discrimination. One former employee stated that if a department head got word of a marijuana cigarette, okay, they would stop. Don't even go there, Andy. They would stop and search the entire department, including pockets, personal lockers, even going through their employees' cars.
Yep. All right.
And if you denied it, you could be fired.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fucked up, right?
I'm a little heated now. I'm a little heated.
Calm down. But listen, what angered these workers of Coors the most was that their owner, Joe Coors, was constantly campaigning for things that were not in their best interest as workers. And what hurt more than the strike was the boycott that these workers caused.
Oh my God, yes.
Right? It just seems silly after profiting in the shadows like all those years. The family would allow someone like Joe to just bust in there. I guess because he was one of the oldest then. There was no one to tell him what to do.
Yeah, and Joe, Adolph Sr. is dead now. He passed away in 1970.
Yeah, Junior.
Yeah, Adolph Jr., yeah.
Junior's passed. The third is gone. Now it's you, right? So I guess he thought, well, I'm the oldest now. I'm the patriarch, so I'm going to do what the hell I want to do.
And Daddy's not here to yell at me anymore.
That's right, and he nearly killed the company. But... yeah, I just don't understand how they let him go public with that shit. Joe really believed, though. I believe that Joe really believed what he was fighting for was worth it. It was worth it all. And he truly thought that he was going to make a change, I think. He just couldn't see how his workers might disagree, you know?
How could you not agree with me? How could you not agree? Look, all of my butlers agree. Don't look at them. Agree with me. They all agree.
Agree with me or you're fired.
Exactly.
But yeah, despite Joe's divisive political campaign, the boycott only grew in popularity. Can you believe that, Andy?
Never can.
With about every somewhat liberal organization and minority group stepping up to say, fuck Coors. You know, just give them that big old fuck Coors. And they fucked Coors for 10 years, actually.
Yeah, you kind of did.
And they fell from America's number 4 brewer all the way down to number 6.
And the effects are still being felt to this day.
So tragic. Do they even exist?
The amount of pure Arabian horses on this family's farm now is dwindled down to 60.
But listen, like, I don't know. I just don't believe all the propaganda, even back then, about this shit, about the Coors thing. Because at the same time where they're struggling so bad, Joe, Mr. Politician Joe, like, he was there during the whole President Reagan swing, right? Mm-hmm. And he was literally rubbing elbows with Ronald Reagan at the time. And that was his, like, you know, top moment in politics, I guess.
Yeah, very influential, very lobbyistic.
It was kind of a signal that they were going to recover, which obviously you still see Coors in every damn store you go to. So they're doing just fine.
Yeah, so I was kind of enlightening Michael on some of the beer companies now and how they've kind of been, like, some of them have monopolized, or kind of not monopolized, but they've merged. So we have like Miller beer and Coors, they merged to make Miller. That's Miller Coors now. We have AB InBev, which
Miller
is
Coors.
Anheuser-Busch Brewing and stuff. So it's like those are the two big ones in America. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like Coors just partnered right up with Miller, and now they are one big conglomerate against or AB InBev.
Right.
So yeah, Coors ended up doing just fine, but it wasn't like they were going to go under. You still had the biggest brewery, and definitely in Colorado.
Yeah, they're freaking fine, dude. They're fine. So what do you think happened? Do you think it's pretty cut and dry? Do you think Corbett was working with somebody? I feel like he was working with somebody.
I feel like he probably had...
Like you said, the car's getting across the country. What the hell? This is a bigger plot, right?
Yeah, because the car... because we couldn't really track him. But it's like if he already knew this plan, he'd kind of been thinking about it. And people did say, like, who worked with him, they're like, he was very odd. He didn't really have any friends. He didn't really talk a lot. He went right home. And so I'm like, I don't know if he was really... like planning something with somebody in the state. I feel like maybe he had like somebody out of state maybe he was working with, or maybe somebody like long distance, because it just seems very
somebody
hard
in New Jersey.
Maybe.
Yeah, it just
somebody
with some different perspectives.
Somebody in a waste management business.
Yeah, somebody in waste. He was found in a dump. Some say.
I'm in sanitation.
That's right. What if he... Oh, man. That kind of gives a little more credence to the being found in a dump thing.
Yeah, and the car was burned with gasoline, so the interior was all dissolved. They couldn't get blood samples and things but they were able to find.
They were still able to get enough off the car, though.
They were able to get the soil samples off the car, especially. That was where they were really tied it back to him.
They should have took it apart.
They were able to go under the car and be like, okay, this is from here, but then they scraped that layer apart. And that's from here. Scrape. That's from the crime scene. So
that's some amazing amazing CSI work, no doubt.
No, I think it was. I think this was probably somebody who had maybe made a connection in prison or something like that. Because this guy, remember, he had escaped from prison.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, what did Corbett benefit from this? Did he get paid? Because I guess he probably robbed ADOLPH COORS that day, the 3rd.
Yeah, I'm assuming he probably got away with whatever he had on him.
Yeah,
but yeah, it feels like one of those things. Like maybe he made a connection in prison, and then he escaped prison. And then was like, well, when this guy gets out, we already made this plan. We're going to follow through with it. I'm going to be his guy. Like, it just seems like one of those weird criminal things. It's like, especially when you've already escaped from prison after you've been a convicted murderer.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems like if you've already kind of made it and you've gotten away and you have a new life and you're hidden, to risk it all just to kidnap a big CEO, it doesn't seem like a very solo plan.
No, like there was a payday in that. There was a payday in that for him, dude. That was going to start him a new life, probably as Walter Osborne, and it just didn't pan out.
I guess, but at the same time, it's like, dude, you got away. You broke out of jail. You got to a new life. You were able to set it all up, and then you wanted to try and kidnap the CEO or the future CEO.
Like I said, maybe he found out what the job was paying, and he was like, "Fuck it, I don't care if I'm in prison. I want that job."
Yeah. Maybe he was taking him somewhere else, but it definitely seems like it fucked up because he does. He tries to kidnap him on the bridge that morning, but it seems that ADOLPH COORS ran or tried to flee, because that's another thing you have to remember is that after Corbett was arrested and stuff, he did not talk. He did not give them
that's what I'm saying. That's so suspicious. It's like Lee Harvey Oswald type shit.
Yeah, he didn't give any retelling of the events. He refused to cooperate. He just said he was not guilty, but it seemed like he was almost like shit, almost like a hitman.
That's what I'm saying. He's a part of it. He just took a job, man.
It seemed
there was a big payday on it for him.
It seemed like there was probably a bigger payday in there for him and something like that, especially for him to have like the 2 different amounts for ransom. It's like $200,000 in this, $300,000 in this. It's almost like maybe he wanted like a specific for this cut for this person.
Obviously
this
wanted
cut for.
Yeah, well, they obviously wanted $500,000, but they wanted them in bills that weren't traced. So I think that's why they.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying.
They got small enough bills where they wouldn't be traced, and then also it doesn't send a red flag when you spin those.
No, it doesn't. But it just seems so equally separated, almost like somebody's share and somebody else's share.
Oh, for sure.
So it's like if he's doing the kidnapping, he's getting the $300,000, and then the person who's set up with the the place and stuff is getting $200,000. It's like it seems like he had a cult, like a accomplice or something, but
for sure,
especially to get all the way to New Jersey and then disappear from New Jersey. And would not get found again until he was in Canada. So it's like he
moved, man. He moved quick.
Yeah, he was on the run for a long time, and I don't know. Some of the things just don't add up to me logically. But you can't always look at it in a logical eye. But I don't know. It just seems very sus to have somebody try and pull this off, because he has that's another thing. There's no ties to them and the COORS family. He has no record of them. He has no bad blood with the COORS family.
No.
So, because when they were first looking, like, who would have kidnapped your husband, man? They're like, does the family have any enemies? They're like, how much time you got?
Right, yeah.
We have quite a few enemies, but this man was not tied to any of them. Like, he was just an anomaly. He was an escaped prisoner from California who somehow managed to stalk, plot, and kidnap the CEO's son. I don't know. It does seem a bit suspicious.
Well, I got something I've been wanting to ask you. How do you feel about COORS beer? It's opinion. It's total opinion.
This beer. I mean, I don't really drink too much beer anymore. It's fine. It's just it's a beer.
Yeah, I don't really drink much beer either, man. Just socially, I might summer's coming up. Maybe have some people over, have a cookout or something like that. Might drink a beer or two, but that's about it. Man.
I am so not ashamed to admit that I prefer the seltzers. They are so tasty. They're so crisp and sweet, and they have the Topo Chico seltzers. They got those flavors.
Love Topo Chico.
I'm telling you, man. I get the summer drink. I don't need those. I don't need those light beers anymore. They just make you pee and feel just make you fat.
That's very true.
Just give me a bunch of White Claws. I'm a basic ass bitch. I don't care.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for supporting us here on Patreon. We appreciate it so much, guys. And thanks for the suggestions. Kendra, thanks again for your second suggestion in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, we said we won't do that, but maybe I'll just make that a thing. Maybe I'll only take suggestions if you give me 2 good ones. And we'll do them back to back.
If you got 2 good ones, we'll squeeze those in.
I'm only taking 2 good ones. 2 good suggestions minimum.
Some throwaway case out there. Bottom of the list.
I guess it makes sense though, right? Because if you guys would have suggested them, I would have just went down the list. I'm looking at the topic. I'm copying and pasting it into Google. When I'm like, oh yeah, I like this one. Throw it on the calendar. Yeah. And then the very next comment's probably you, if you thought of two. So yeah, no, it's bound to happen. It's bound to happen. But guys, either way, thank you for being a patron. We appreciate it very much. It's the wheels of this podcast. Not really sure what's going on in the podcast industry, but it really seems like ad revenue is dropping, like overall. I think it's because of a lot of these networks coming in. You know what I'm saying? These big corporations, these networks, and then every damn celebrity has a podcast these days. It's like, it's hard to compete with. They already have a huge fan base, and, you know, there's only so many hours in the day, so what are you going to listen to? Somebody you already love, or take a chance on some indie podcast?
Yeah, look at these faces. Why would you trust this?
Seriously. But, guys, we appreciate you supporting us the way you do. So we're going to go back to, let's say, March 20th, and give a shout out to all of the creepers who have joined in the last month. Guys, thank you so much. Let's give a big TCG thank you to Alexandria Bear, Sammy, Alyssa Smith, Mel Delurier.
Delurier? I don't know. Sounds fancy.
Delurier. Mel Delurier. Jared Batista. See, that was an easy one, and he threw me off, Mel. Brenda Barboza. Justine Bellinger.
Richard Hartman. Lucy. Johnny Grant. Brittany Lechtfield. Sounds very German. Luchtfield. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kylie Gracia. And Bobby.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Oh, dang it, Bobby. I appreciate it.
Dang it, Bobby.
I appreciate it, Bobby.
That's right, guys.
We will accept it any day of the week.
That's right. And guys, because you're on Patreon, please check out the new Sandu stories. Well, if you're on the $5 tier, we just released chapter 26, which is part 1 to our new series entitled Deja Vu.
So saucy.
It is quite saucy. It was a blast. And I really do think these Sandu stories are just getting better and better, guys. Please go check that out. And tell your friends, tell your family about Sandu Stories on the free platform as well. If you guys could, if you are a fan of Sandu Stories, please check it out on the free platform and just leave a review for us. We appreciate that very much. It helps that show grow and helps the word to spread.
Yeah, all right. That's one of the most fun shows we get to do. We get to have a lot of fun acting and writing and doing sounds and stuff. So we really appreciate your support on Sandu Stories. We also appreciate the guest voices we had on this past episode.
Absolutely.
I want to thank the girls from Cryptic Soup.
Yes, Thina and Kylie from Cryptic Soup helped us out in the new episode, as well as Leroy Luna from Excuse Me.
Leroy
That's Luna. That's right. And also my cousin John helped us out with the voice. So it was... Bruh. But it was a good time, guys. There is a hilarious little segment of outtakes that are personally my favorite part of the show. It's because when you get done with all that work, you need that laugh.
Yeah, right? Make it worth it.
Please, just make me laugh. But guys, thank you so much. And we'll see you next week back on the free platform, Andy and I. And we'll see you on Strange Shorts before then.
I think we will.
Yeah, I think we will. All right, guys, until then, just keep on creeping, all right? See ya.
Bye.
You hush your mouth, boy.
All right, tea break. There we go. Burp is on point. Perfect timing.
Reverb.
Are you ready for action?
Action? No.